Are we getting Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, number 412 at WrestleMania? I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD, your jam, that champion, and welcome to the WWE Raw review podcast.
So close to that being good.
On the WrestleTalk Podcast channel. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with what you thought of this episode of Monday Netflix Raw, and send in your chat gables. Can we find the secret of Lucha in the chat gables?
Luchador.
Send those in to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 and exciting news, super chatters, chat gablers, because we can all celebrate me today.
What?
Because at lunch,
Yeah.
I said to you, hey, watch this.
Right.
And I was across the room from a bin, and I had a bit. Don't you? I know what you're.
What?
No, you're going to pretend this didn't happen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I honest to God, was 20 feet away from a bin. That's a trash can, and I had some aluminium foil, some silver foil, from a cake that I had eaten, and I'd scrunched it up and I just went, "Hey, Luke," and I did this. I went behind my head like that, and it went in the bin. And you saw it, and Sullivan saw it, and us three were the only three people in there, and it was amazing.
Right.
And then you both immediately turned and said to me, "We're going to deny this ever happened."
That is not what happened at all. So, I mean, here's what happened for me.
This is
on my
can't
lunch
you
break.
see this is lying, Luke?
On my lunch break.
This is fake, Luke.
On my lunch break, I was there having my sandwich. I was watching Grand Pooh Bear play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES from the late 80s. So I was watching him do that. I'm pretty sure Sullivan was there.
Yes, he was.
Probably
Yes, he
listening
was.
to a podcast or something. And you were there because you were reading your basic book that was Book of the Year, so you have to read it because that's what popular people do.
I'm just trying to expand my horizons on Asian culture.
Yeah. By reading a book that everyone's read, I guess. It's a real way to stand out from the crowd. And then we said, hey, we're doing the podcast at 3. What an episode of Raw that was. And on we went with the day. Like, are you talking about, because I know you tried to make that shot sort of about 20 odd times. And if you did make that shot,
I try and make that shot most days.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you fail
and
over
it's funny.
and over and over again.
It's funny because I never hit it.
You
and
always miss.
And I just go swish,
and it goes miles away.
And it went in today.
But if it went in the way you described it, I'd have been like, man, it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
It is one of the coolest things.
I really wish some cameras had caught it. I wish that there was more than Sullivan and I to prove that this happens. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun little story, and I'm sure the day that it does actually happen will be a really good day. What are you doing?
I'm hoping Sullivan isn't in the shoot.
I was going to say, I think he's recording next door.
No, because.
Oh, damn it! I'm sorry, but the person you. I was going to say, look at this. Ollie's just another lie. I'd be more impressed if Ollie gave Luke that $10, or that £10.
Well, now let's not bring up 2024 stuff. That's in the past.
Yeah. What happened here? Ollie thinks he's B. Martinez.
I don't know that reference. If B. Martinez is someone who can
do
sweet dunks. I'm
just going to quickly Google who that is.
I believe they have a 3-pointer in basketball. I know that because I watched the movie Trainwreck over the weekend. This would have been a 20-pointer.
Well, that's the other thing as well. You said it's 20 feet away.
At least.
It is. Absolutely not. At most, 10?
It's a wrestling 20 feet. It's a JR calling Shane McMahon climbing a Titantron. He's got to be 50 feet in the air.
There's Tess standing next to him. You can see you touching Shane McMahon's feet. Where are you off to now? We've got a show to do. You want to try and keep these under an hour, right?
These are all the post-it notes that we use to track all the videos we're making over December.
Yeah, and it was a handy system it was as well. Digital company.
Over there's about 20 feet away.
I mean, if
a
that
wrestling
is
20
a
feet.
wrestling 20 feet.
If I can get, at the end of this episode, this ball from there into this, do I win the championship?
Yeah, go on then. I'll take that bet.
How many goes do I get?
I'll give you a 3 count.
Okay. So, Sami Zayn came out.
Onto things that actually happened.
Sami Zayn comes out to the ring. And remember, last week, Karrion Kross said something to Sami Zayn. Like, yeah, you should stand up for yourself a bit more. Something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
Usually when Kross says that to people, that is the precursor to them slowly turning heel, in the New Day's case, over the course of about 8 months.
It's slightly different to the conversation he had with Seth. Because Seth's one was just like, oh, you're just going to do what Roman Reigns asked you to do because you're a little lapdog of him. Are you going to help him win the Royal Rumble, are you? Karrion Kross is so much more that little devil on your shoulder to just be like, hey, have you noticed that you really do not do a lot of things for just Sami Zayn?
So Sami Zayn comes out here with that in the background. And he says, I'm officially entering the Royal Rumble. I just told Adam Pearce backstage. And he talks about all the people in the world who want to become pro wrestlers and how some of those get to the big leagues, WWE. And then amongst them, in the upper echelon, are your megastars. And WWE's done a great job of actually making that a thing. And it's CM Punk, it's Roman Reigns, it's Cody Rhodes, it's Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, I guess. Well, I'd put LA Knight in another echelon.
He has, at the very least, announced himself for the Royal Rumble, which is more than you can say for 90% of the women's division.
Yes.
Because there are only 2 confirmed names for the women's Royal Rumble by comparison.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. It's Survivor Series, it's Crown Jewel. WWE are behaving the exact same way towards the women's division as they have been for ages. So Sami Zayn lays that all out. And he says, but the only difference between me and all those people in the upper echelon, sorry, Jey Uso, is that I've never had a world championship. And then he says, I don't need a world championship, though, because I need you guys. I've got you guys.
Yeah.
But I want it.
Yeah, exactly. I like that line of just like, I don't need a world title to complete me because the people's support means more.
Well, look, my opinion later changed because then I feel like I understood what they were doing with this segment. But when he said that, I actually thought it was a bit lame.
Okay.
I didn't like that line because to me, the wrestlers in that upper echelon should need it. It's like, no, it's not that I want to become champion. I need to become champion.
Okay, I get what you mean, but at least it gives it a bit of a different character motivation, because otherwise that means that everyone just has the same motivation or the same character arc, whereas Sami's is slightly different, slightly more nuanced.
Yes, but when I think it's totally okay, though, and I change my opinion afterwards, is because then Kevin Owens comes out.
So cool. His music hit, and I was like, here we go.
Because this little interaction has been building for, I guess, 4 months, right? When Sami first sided with Roman in the build to Crown Jewel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. I was thinking just War Games, but you're right. It goes before then.
And Kevin Owens even had that line in the awkward carpool karaoke interview with Michael Cole. Oh, we'll get to Sami when that's brought up. And this is finally Kevin Owens getting to Sami.
And what I loved about it was Sami is upfront saying, let's have it then. Because I know you wanted to have this conversation. You're going to be really mad at me because I helped Roman Reigns. And Kevin Owens, with the winged eagle, says, like, I'm not here to do that. Because I understand why you helped him. Because you forgive people. That's what you do. Like, we're not just friends. We're brothers. And I know you better than anyone else does. You forgive people. You've forgiven me for all of the horrible things that I've done over my career. In the same way that I've forgiven you for all of the horrible things that you've done over your career. So, no, I'm not mad that you teamed with Roman Reigns.
And that's really important because it is different to how Cody just decided to team with Roman.
Yeah.
That's why KO's annoyed at Cody, not Sami. I don't see that as inconsistent.
Do you think that Kevin's telling the truth?
Well, I think Kevin Owens believes he's telling the truth.
That's interesting. Yeah,
but he wants... Really, it's to get Sami to help him.
Yeah, he's manipulating.
So he can win the title.
Yeah.
No, but I guess it is manipulation to an extent, but I don't think it's conscious manipulation. That's why I always like Owens' character and Steen's before then. Because he was so compelling back in NXT, for instance, because he believed all of the bad things he did were justified because he was providing for his family.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get that.
And that's sort of still what I feel now.
Yeah, because I felt like the latter half of this promo, when he lays out, here is what I would like you to do at the Royal Rumble, felt like slight manipulation. It's maybe manipulation is the wrong word. Maybe you're right. Like, maybe it's not. It's unconscious manipulation, because he was saying, like, well, we've done a lot together. We've main evented WrestleMania together, but we've never main evented WrestleMania as opponents for the WWE Championship. Wouldn't that be nice? And we've actually got a way to get there, because I've got this ladder match with Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble. You're in the Royal Rumble. So just always remember, I'm always going to have your back, because I know you'll always have mine.
Yeah. And that's we got a little tease of this in the previous week's episode, but this was properly laying out, Sami Zayn could turn heel.
Yeah.
And if you track it back again, it all goes back to just that decision of Sami teaming with... Really, it's Cody teaming with Roman.
Yes.
That is the nexus event for all of the main event scenes, various rivalries. It's such intricately woven storytelling. And I really, really commend it for WWE. The reason I say it's so nice that Sami went in the want direction is because I feel like Kevin Owens is obsessed, bit psychopathic.
Yeah.
Because he needs the title.
Needs it. Oh, if he doesn't win the title at the Rumble, I think his life is incomplete.
So let's talk about that, because Owens has laid out this plan. Sami Zayn would have another moment in the main event, which we'll cover there, where he accidentally haluva kicks Seth when trying to save him from Drew. Again, sowing those seeds. Oh, is he going to turn heel?
That one less.
Yeah,
so.
but it's definitely, Seth can just watch Netflix.
Well, that's
to
it.
see it was clearly an accident.
That I did write in my notes. If Seth thinks that Sami did this on purpose, he is a moron.
Yes, but maybe Seth sort of
is
a
moron.
But he's angry as well. And he's like, I don't care if you didn't mean it. The fact is, you hit me in the face. I'm annoyed by it. I think that's okay.
Oh, and that's completely right to do so. It's whether or not it's like, you hit me on purpose.
So, Royal Rumble. I don't think Kevin Owens is winning the title from Cody.
In the same way, when they announced they were bringing in the Winged Eagle for Saturday Night's main event, I said to you, oh, Kevin Owens is not winning that title then. If this is a one-night-only deal, Cody's winning. He's going to beat Owens. And now they've started this, I'm pretty convinced that Cody's going to retain at the Royal Rumble as well.
Yeah.
Because that can then set up what happens in the Royal Rumble.
So Owens loses the belt. Sorry, doesn't win the belt. Probably because Sami doesn't turn up. Or maybe Sami does come down. He thinks about helping Owens, but then he looks at Cody, his boy, and he's like, I can't help you.
Yeah.
That's enough of a distraction for Cody to run up the ladder.
Or it's just Owens looking down the ramp.
Yeah.
Looking for when Sami's coming, and then Sami just never arrives. Because
Which is great. That could be a really emotional moment.
Because Owens' line is like, I know I'm going to win the title on Saturday because I've got your back. And if you ever need me, I know. If I ever need you, I know you'll be there. And in this moment, he needs him, and Sami's not going to be there.
And that's really good because, well, Sami was there for Roman.
Yeah, you help Roman. Why wouldn't you help me?
Yeah. So Owens doesn't win the belt. He's probably going to be quite pissed off at Sami Zayn.
Probably quite angry. But, well, he'll blame Sami Zayn because a lot of the main event heels, Drew in particular, it's everyone else's fault but the person who it's actually the fault lies at. So it is Drew's fault, but Drew believes it is everyone else's fault. It is Kevin's fault, but Kevin will think it's Sami's fault.
Just like to pay tribute to Randy Orton, who has somehow not had to get pinned in this feud with Kevin Owens.
Yeah. The Randy thing does have a question mark, because I thought there'll be some Randy involvement for WrestleMania, like you do Randy and Kevin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, it feels like we are now... This felt like this whole scene was here to set up Kevin versus Sami at WrestleMania.
Well, we booked that terrible
six-man tag
with, I think it was Orton, Sami, and Jay versus Owens, Seth, and Drew.
The sword.
Don't like that. But we booked it.
No, we didn't book it. We predicted.
So in the Rumble match, Sami's going to be in it. He's declared for it. I feel like maybe at the Rumble, Owens is an entrant then. Or he just runs out, hockey fights with Sami.
That's what I think.
They spill over the top rope. And that is your feud going into Mania.
Yeah, because So Tempest hadn't seen this episode of Raw, and he said, I haven't checked anything like what happened. I said, they had the Sami Kevin thing. And I told him what happened, and he was like, that's amazing, because that means Kevin's going to win at the Royal Rumble, Sami's going to win at the Royal Rumble, and it's going to be Kevin and Sami for the title at WrestleMania. Tempest. And I was like, oh no, but I think more likely it means that Cody's going to retain at the Royal Rumble, Sami's not going to win the Royal Rumble because of Kevin Owens, and then you get to do Kevin and Sami at WrestleMania as a mid-card match.
Oh, that means Tempest is going to be upset that doesn't happen. It's not going to happen.
He and Sat were super upset that Kevin did not win the title because they were so convinced that Kevin was going to win the title at Saturday Night's main event.
I would have loved it, but I just don't see WWE taking that belt off Cody.
Yeah, that's kind of the boat I'm in. Like, I just don't... Cody's the guy right now, so why would you put the belt onto someone who is not at the same level of hype as Cody Rhodes?
Well, should we see what everyone says on the chat? Gables, WrestleTalk.com/support. Please send in your thoughts. We'll read every single one out over $5 before the end of the show. Ben Vlerick says, I know Owens is the bad guy and all, but you telling me Sami will help Cody, Reigns and Rollins, or at least try, but not his best friend? Can't blame Owens for snapping.
I know this is slightly off topic, but have you seen they've now got a new host for Inside the Factory?
Oh, it's not...
well, obviously...
You can't say that anymore.
You can't say that anymore. It's Paddy McGuinness.
Oh.
So you can still do... Are you telling me? But it's now, are you telling me?
Yeah, but I can't do that accent. I can only do Daft Cockney.
Are you telling me?
Why did that make you think of that?
Because he said, but are you telling me?
Kevin says, I really had this oh crap, oh no vibe when KO's music hit. Attacking people and almost ending their careers, manipulating his friend to get what he wants. KO is slowly becoming everything he hates Roman for. That's a good... comparison. I really enjoy this. Hashtag Sami Zayn Hype Train 2025. Oh yeah, because that is a regularly departing service.
It's arrived on time.
I like this segment. It wasn't really flashy. We all thought, wow, it's going to combust when these two are finally in the ring, but no, it was a pretty calm promo segment.
We didn't give any thoughts on it. Apart from, we kind of sort of gave some character thoughts, but actually as a segment, I loved it. I thought it was my favorite thing on the show.
I sometimes prefer segments like this where you can get really excited because you're like, there's so much subtext here. I know in 4 weeks' time that is going to pay off huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, really good mechanical writing.
Or in Triple H verse, the night after Survivor Series.
Matt says, son of a bitch. They've done it again. The magic of Kevin and Sami always gets me. Move aside John Cena. Move aside Punk, Cody and Roman. Kevin Owens should win the WWE title at the Royal Rumble, and Sami Zayn should win the Royal Rumble match. Cena versus Cody doesn't need the title and could be built as icon versus icon. Cena's whole point is going for the belt.
That's what I was going to say.
It would fit Sami's story perfectly to win his first title of his best friend enemy. 2 years ago, they headlined WrestleMania and took down the Bloodline together. Last year, Sami took down Gunther. Now he has to take down Kevin Owens to finally win his first world title. When people talk about the greatest rivalry Triple H booked in NXT, the main two mentions are Zayn versus Owens and Gargano versus Ciampa. I want Sami Zayn versus KO to be run back.
Well, you'll likely get that. I just don't think it's going to be the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. And that is fine because, to kind of almost echo the point you made there of Cena and Cody doesn't need the title, Kevin and Sami doesn't need the title either. Sami feels like the guy that's... I just don't think he ever really needs to be a WWE champion or needs to be the world heavyweight. Maybe the world heavyweight champion because it is, just another mid-card belt. But the WWE champion just doesn't... I don't see it. And I don't think he'll ever get to that point. And that's okay, because not everyone gets to be the WWE champion. And also, if your argument there is that, well, Kevin should win and then Sami can win the Mania. It's like, oh, so Kevin just gets a 2-month reign. This whole storyline of Kevin needing this title ends after 2 months. I don't see the point in that.
Sami could win a World Heavyweight Championship.
But yeah, exactly. Because it's a world title.
Kazoo says, Mania season, WWE is such a different beast. 2 weeks of solid television. KO versus Sami absolutely deserve to compete for a world title at Mania. They deserve it, Luke. But unless Sami turns on Cody, I just can't see it this year. Plus, I think Randy is costing Kevin this match.
There's always that as well. You know, maybe this whole Kevin and Sami thing is just a red herring for the Randy Orton return.
Jessica, stop it, says you hear it first. Luke and Ollie, Kevin Owens going to lose at the Royal Rumble, obviously, and he's going to cost Sami Zayn his Royal Rumble, thus setting up for their WrestleMania match. That promo they did, kind of planting the seeds there.
That's exactly it. 100% could not agree more.
Ben G, I need to rant for a sec. For years, so many people were pooping on Penta, sharing clips of his matches with captions about how he was terrible because of the way he wrestled. Were they?
I think if you would go searching for them, you will probably find certain pro WWE accounts who hate AEW will have shared choice clips where they've been like, and this is why AEW is terrible. But it's less about Penta is bad, it's more AEW is bad, and he is just someone who happens to be there.
He's had 2 matches in WWE, and he wrestled the exact same way he wrestled in AEW, and he's no longer on those pages because he's in WWE. He did the Destroyer in both his matches for Meatballs. It's so annoying how these things only bother those people in AEW, but now, all of a sudden, he's fine because he's in WWE now.
That's tribalism.
Yeah.
That's tribalism for you. I was listening to a WWE podcast. It is a WWE endorsed podcast here in the UK. And they have bemoaned the Canadian Destroyer and its usage. And they both had, after Penta's match, going, I mean, he did do the Canadian Destroyer, but it's okay because they sold it. I'm like, well, they sell all the Canadian Destroyers in AEW as well. You can't just sort of pick and choose the arguments.
Yeah, sometimes for up to several seconds. Kevin, again, writes, to add to my earlier chat, and after listening to you, it makes it even better that KO is becoming like Roman without him realizing. He thinks he's right in doing everything that he did, but perception is reality.
Exactly.
Real Double J, I love how KO can sell me on anything. He made me want a Ray Mania show off on SmackDown. That was a good segment as well. He now makes me salivate over a Sami match for the title at Mania. If this man threw a post-it note into a bin from 20 meters, I would not question the gentleman at all.
Amazing.
It's I like how this is getting bigger because 20 meters is much further away than 20 feet. I was half a kilometer away. The Guilty Hat, KO versus Sami for the WWE title in the main event of Mania, is honestly the only option currently presented to me that I have any interest in. I appreciate I'm likely in the minority, but nothing Cody, Roman, Punk, or Cena could do even holds a candle to it for me.
Now, I think what we're looking at here is potentially hardcore fans and the casuals. Because Cena versus Cody is a much bigger match for the casuals than Sami versus KO. Punk versus Roman is a much bigger match for the casuals than Kevin versus.
That's still a bigger match for me. I'm not a casual. Well, I still want Punk and Roman.
Maybe there's some. Well, maybe there's.
No, what it is?
It's a half and half. Maybe.
It's recency bias. we definitely all want Punk Roman more. Do you remember the favor? Do you remember the looks in the War Games cage?
Yeah, you thought that a drawing of 3 people was definitely that moment because it's so much.
I want Owens Sami too, but it is in no way comparable to Punk Reigns. Ross says here, finally for now, interesting parallels between Rumble 23 and Rumble 25, with Sami essentially needing to show loyalty to Roman and KO respectively. Of course. Fascinating. I wonder if he will pick up on it. Love the podcast, guys.
It's that point that Kevin was making earlier about, like, Kevin is more like Roman than he probably is willing to admit. Really interesting. I think Kevin Owens is such a fascinating character.
Yeah,
like always such a fascinating character within WWE. And like you say, it goes back to his teen days.
This podcast is sponsored by us. Go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, where you can get so many more podcasts, because we have over there WrestleTalk Extra, which has evolved into something even more magical over the last year.
We couldn't have imagined it would grow to what it has become.
Where Luke and I do very deep dives. Oh, we go deep. Into storylines in wrestling's past. Usually crap ones. So we've done the breakup of the Shield, 7 episodes long, like 25 hours. We've done Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle in TNA, 5 episodes long. You can watch the first, and 20 hours long. You can go watch the first episodes of both of those on our YouTube channel right now as a taster. But starting this weekend is our latest arc.
So, we are breaking formats. We're breaking tradition ever so slightly because WrestleTalk Extra, the first episode of our new series, will be live. Not live. It'll be going up on WrestleTalk this Saturday. And the next episode will be up on Patreon right away because we are looking at Rock versus John Cena. Oof. Starting with WrestleMania 27, following into Survivor Series 2011, following into WrestleMania 28, following into Raw 1000, following into WrestleMania 29.
Royal Rumble.
Royal
Rumble 2013.
Royal Rumble 2013, leading into Elimination Chamber 2013, leading into WrestleMania 29, and as a bonus addendum episode exclusively for Patreon, we're going to review WrestleMania 32 because The Rock shows up and sets fire to his own name.
Oh dear God, what have we done? So we've recorded the first 2 episodes so far, which are going live this weekend.
Both of which are, I think the WrestleMania 27 one is 4.5 hours long, and the other one is, I believe, 4 and a bit hours.
They're terrible shows. They're both
they sure are.
Ghastly shows.
WrestleMania 27 in particular.
Yeah, with the lamest WrestleMania main event of all time. Not the worst, because that's probably Triple H Roman.
Probably, yeah.
But the the weakest.
Yeah, weakest because that also really describes Miz's offense and Cena's selling that offense.
I think of the 4.5 hour long episode, we laugh at Cena's selling for 4 of them? 4 hours of that?
Yeah.
It was really, really fun. We really love doing those, and going by the viewing figures, you guys love it too. So yes, subscribe, enable notifications to the main WrestleTalk channel, because this Saturday, episode 1 is going live there with WrestleMania 27. And go and become a patron, patreon.com/WrestleTalk, because episode 2 will go right on Patreon, and it will stay there. So every other episode is going to be on Patreon.
Yeah, and that is us reviewing Survivor Series 2011, which is when...
Never again.
Never before have known WrestleMania opponents tagged in Survivor Series. It is Rock and Cena tagging together to take on the formidable, the unstoppable Miz and R-Truth.
Who have a promo about pigeons.
Mm-hmm. And they do a comedy rap on the way to the ring.
Do their cool bad boy poses.
It's so late. We played that clip. I could feel you crawl inside yourself because you couldn't bear to look at them anymore.
I wanted it to all end at that point.
Do you want to take your first shot?
Oh, so I don't get it. Okay.
I think we spread this out across the show, make it more dramatic. So Ollie's going to take his first shot.
So you agree?
So you're going right to the door, yeah?
My heels are on the door.
I'd say that's pretty far away. Maybe I'll take a photo. See what? I'll get a shot of it. I'll get a video, because if it's good, then we
get all the mess
in. Well, no, not much I can do about that.
Can you move your championship belt? So I've just got the basket.
That's not what the deal was.
There's a light in the way.
You made the deal, mate. Shot 1. Missed. Good attempt, though. Good. You got good length on it.
I don't think it's doable.
No, you need to arch it. Don't take your second shot now. We'll spread them out.
I'm just testing.
Oh, it's kind of a further distance. Not quite a further distance, but it's probably a better line.
I've got more of a championship.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, two more of those to go. Right, let's get into Raw.
Really glad for the people who joined in midstream.
Yes.
No idea.
Thrilling. Right, so I've had a friend of mine who didn't watch wrestling before, but has gotten into it with the Netflix move. And he texted me and said, a lot of WWE is people walking into venues. And that was just been in the back of my mind. So when I watched this episode, it's all the people arriving.
I said this to you yesterday, but I actually didn't follow up on it. My brother-in-law texted me yesterday, yesterday while we were recording WrestleTalk Extra, and said, I watched all of the Vince McMahon documentary in one sitting. And I was like, woof, that's a hell of a thing. But the second half of the text was, it made me remember how much of a fan I was when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, if that fan is still in there, how do I start watching wrestling again? And I was like, you've probably picked a good time to do it because they've just moved to Netflix. And also I did this 20 minutes recap video of everything you need to know from last year. So I think this is anecdotally creating some new fans, or potentially.
We had the people arriving, and Rhea Ripley's one of them, and she gets attacked by Nia Jax.
Yes.
Setting up a promo, an angle for later on. The first segment was Jey Uso coming down through the crowd, and Michael Cole is yeeting. He's getting more yeety every week.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was Wade Barrett doing commentary this week in place of Pat McAfee. And
thankfully.
Well, yeah, it was so much better.
It's not going to calm Corey down. Do you think Corey Graves was 100% going to be the replacement until
Probably
he
would have been.
said, you better tune in, guys. I'm going to say what I really think. Him and PCO, who would have seen that coming?
I was super pleased to see that Wade Barrett was doing color commentary
really
for this week. I didn't actually say this on last week's episode, but I did write down in my notes. When Gunther was in the ring and Jey Uso came out and did his entrance, I just sort of it fell out of my fingers. Was like, I think it says a lot about me, but I would much rather hang out with Gunther than I would Jey Uso. If I walked into a bar and it was like, you have to pick one of these people to have a drink with, I wouldn't even give it a second thought. Straight to Gunther.
Yeah. Gunther interrupts Jey really quickly. I actually forgot Jey was the number one contender until he said it. I was like, I wonder what match he's going to have. Gunther comes out, interrupts him, said he's disappointed that Jay's being a dork again. You're just that useful idiot who goes to help his cousin or Sammy or whoever when they call. Jay says that Gunther should respect him because he main evented WrestleMania. Gunther hasn't. And then they had a little bit of a brawl. Jay stood tall with a busted lip. I don't feel like they added anything from last week.
What are you talking about? They added what is probably the most crucial character point for everyone in WWE right now is, I have main evented WrestleMania and you haven't. Because it's all part of Seth stuff. Yeah. It's part of Punk stuff. It's part of Sami and Kevin stuff. It's now part of this Jay and Gunther stuff. Like, why did Gunther get so mad that Jay was like, well, I've main evented WrestleMania? Because that was the trigger point for Gunther to punch him in the face. Like, why did he get so mad about that? So?
Because the Saturday night's main event match is this Saturday, so they needed a brawl.
I guess.
I think this is really weak. It's 2 weeks of build, fine, but this is just another Gunther program where it's like a filler feud to the actual Gunther program, but they've all been filler feuds. Yeah. And I'm even going to include Randy Orton in there as well now.
Well, yeah.
Because that wasn't a real program. It was just a tie-up, a loose end from before his reign started. I guess the Sami Zayn bit, but that never felt like, this is the substantial one. This is the feud to get to the bigger feud. Then you have Cody, which was just for Crown Jewel. Then you had the Damian Priest Judgment Day thing, which backdrop. Then he wasn't on the Raw debut on Netflix, and now it's Jey Uso.
Yeah, it's not.
He's
not
had
great
the belt
stuff.
for 6 months.
It's
Gunther.
He has made it feel, and I don't say they have made this feel so mid card.
Yeah, I think it's because they're waiting for Goldberg.
You reckon?
I think they're just, you're going to be ready soon, Goldberg? Yeah. Hopefully aiming for this day. All right, well, let's just fill up Gunther's time. After that, we have Rey Mysterio versus Kofi Kingston. New Day are walking backstage and they run into JBL. And he won't be favourable to New Day.
Yeah.
He talks about how good Big E was, how much he liked him.
I really like this as well, because they're like, JBL, a voice of reason. You won't sit there on commentary and talk about you won't buy into this smear campaign against us at the New Day. And JBL's like, yeah, I understand why you did that to Big E, because he's so muscly and charismatic. Like, why would you want him hanging around with you? Because he just overshadows everything you do, because he's so good at what he does. And they look at him and they're like, yeah, we don't want your help anyway.
So they come out, and I thought Rey Mysterio and Kofi had a great match.
Really good.
And like, we've been watching a lot of 2011, 2014 WWE for that excellent Patreon series we keep telling you about. And you could have had a Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston match on any episode of Raw during that time, and it would have been boring.
Yeah.
Because nobody ever went anywhere. But you see them here in 2025, they feel fresh.
Yeah, really, really good. And actually, Michael Cole pointed out, this is their first singles match on Raw in 16 years.
Whoa. That's mad.
That is mad.
Kofi really changed up the look. He didn't have any colourful New Day outfit on.
Yeah,
it was
black
just
jeans.
Black jeans, sneakers, and none of the New Day music. It started, but Xavier Woods was like, no, stop that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they had a really good match. JBL's on commentary for this, but I think he was only there because TKO wanted to advertise pro bull riders.
Oh, it's Texas. They were in Texas, and he is from there. That's why he was there.
Well.
So that, when Triple H first took over, he brought in. They went to Pittsburgh, so they brought in Kurt Angle for a show.
So there were some pro bull riding guests in the crowd as well, in the same 10-gallon hats as JBL. Woods tried to interfere. He's sent to the back, and Rey Mysterio beats Kofi Kingston.
So, do you remember when we talked with? And I'm not saying this is the same level. I'm not comparing these two angles before anyone gets really narky at me. But what we've been saying about the Death Riders in AEW, which is they started as this really unique and interesting force within pro wrestling, but now just feel like every other heel stable act in pro wrestling. They're just your general group of baddies. New Day, that's what New Day felt like in this segment, because Woods is interfering and then he gets ejected, and I'm like, oh, you just feel like any other heel tag team. It doesn't have any of the magic that was sort of promised with your heel turn. And surely the whole point of your heel turn was because you kept losing because you weren't on the same page, and now you are on the same page and you're just losing again.
Yeah,
this didn't connect me at all with what they did 8 weeks ago with this heel turn.
This whole story means that in their first match, Woods cheats successfully for Kofi to win.
Yeah.
And I don't think Ray loses anything from having, a dirty win over him. And LWO run out afterwards to chase off New Day, and New Day take out, I think, Whack 'Em Wild. And it's like, oh, so New Day are feuding with LWO, and they've already lost to their leader.
Yeah,
clean.
Well, Woods did pin Ray when he turned his mask around and rolled him up. Wouldn't that have been a really interesting finish if Kofi had done the same thing? He learnt that play from Xavier Woods.
I really think they've majorly dropped the ball with the momentum of this New Day angle.
I agree.
After that, we got American Made are angry backstage. We got the Sami Zayn promo that we've already covered. Sheamus has an interview with Kathy Kelly. He's not won the IC title. Did you know that? And he wants to win it this Saturday. Breakker walks in the shot and says, "You're going to retire." Then we got Bayley versus Nia Jax, which was actually a really good match.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Bayley now officially part of the Monday Night Raw roster.
Yeah. Wrestling a SmackDown girl.
Well, it's draft season.
Yeah.
Shake-up season. People are just it's floaty, man. Just floating around. What is a draft?
They had, I thought, a really good match.
That was great.
Big move, back and forth stuff. Bayley's selling was great. And Roxanne Perez is there in the front row. And Bayley sort of gets in her face at one point and punches Roxanne Perez. Perez is escorted out.
Yeah.
So to me, if Bayley's on Raw, Roxanne Perez is starting a feud with her there, I'm really happy because that means Perez is going to Raw and
Oh.
Bayley is a great.
Because they started this on NXT. Do you not think it could just be an NXT match?
No, because Roxanne Perez should get called up now.
Which she can do after, but like this for me just felt like a continuation of what they did on NXT to build up for a match on NXT. Like maybe even the NXT special that'll be over WrestleMania time. Because Bayley's not going to be on the WrestleMania card, going by our predictions.
I really like Roxanne Perez.
Me
I
too.
think everyone does. I think she's well overdue being called up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, what a great first program to have on the main roster. Bayley.
Yeah, I agree.
Perfect.
I really enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the story that Bayley was just throwing everything she could at Nia Jax, but none of it was working. And I thought she solved that frustration, that proper, like, what am I supposed to do now really well. Because then Nia's just like, nope, stops, annihilator. Like, Bayley even hit her with her own move. She tried an annihilator of her own because I'm out of options. I'll just do your move, I guess. But no, one annihilator and Nia gets the win. Builds Nia really strong because afterwards Rhea Ripley comes down, they brawl, and Ripley challenges her to a match for Saturday night's main event.
I thought it was a good pull-apart brawl as well afterwards.
Yeah, I enjoyed this.
After that, this is, okay, talking about segments that make you really excited for the future direction of the company. We're in the clubhouse with Judgment Day, and Chad Gable walks in, and Dominic gives him a piece of paper, which is apparently a contact details for the guy who will teach Chad the secrets of lucha.
Yeah, because the American-made promo earlier in the show was Chad Gable saying, look, I hate Dragon Lee, I hate Rey Mysterio, I hate Pentagon Jr., but I know the greatest luchador in this company is Dominic Mysterio, and he has said he will help me. And Dom's help is to give him this mystery contact. I really hope it's Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic Mysterio
in a
luchador
mask.
Yes, we're thinking the same thing. Them two together as an act. It's a shame Chad's got this faction. Because I think in a Vince McMahon era, this could have been one of those absolute gems of an odd couple tag team.
Oddly gets over.
Yeah. And that because the rest of Raw would be so unwatchable, we'd all think this was the best thing.
Latch onto this with everything we have.
But excited that hopefully they go in some proper pre-filmed comedy vignettes with this.
Yeah.
I'm excited. The rest of the Judgment Day stuff, though, Dom is going to replace Finn Balor for the tag title defense next week, so he'll be tagging with JD.
Tag title.
Sorry. Thank God. He just woke me up from this nightmare I've been having. But they're still the tag champs. So it's a rematch there. And Liv's still angry. She says she isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Good grief, she can talk fast. You notice that?
Yeah. She says, she says a lot without saying a lot. You know what I mean?
To replay her bit to be like, I didn't miss anything there, did I? After that, we got Pete Dunne versus Penta. This was a good match.
I was so excited for this match because they announced it at the top of the show that Penta's going to be wrestling again and it's going to be against Pete Dunne. I was excited for two reasons. Number one, it's against Pete Dunne. Awesome. Like, this sounds so exciting on paper. Like, a really, really great dream matchup. Like, I love these two guys. I want to see them wrestle. But B, I was joking with you either yesterday or last week. He was like, what do you think Penta's going to do? I was like, nothing. Because he debuted last week. He'll be off TV for the next 3 weeks. Now, he'll have some video promos, and then he'll come back and have another match, and then we'll just, So I was happy to be proven wrong. Wrestling again here on Raw. I was so excited. And the match was good. Match was good. I did enjoy the match. I thought Penta was great. But it just doesn't feel like it's a big deal because Pete Dunne doesn't feel like it's a big deal because the last thing that Pete Dunne was doing was losing to R-Truth in their feud that I think is either still ongoing or just has been dropped and neither man is doing anything.
This was a 10-minute match, and it was good. It was a good TV match. For me, it was nowhere near the level of Chad Gable and Penta from the previous week.
I don't think this was of the same level of quality as Pentagon Jr. versus Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did that happen?
Well, no, but what I mean is just like this. I mean, apparently they did have matches like on the indie scene, like, way back then. It just feels like this should have been a much better match. This should have been the same level of quality as the Chad Gable match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess the reason would be, well, we've booked Pete Dunne in this specific way, so we don't want to undermine Penta by having him go long. But he still went 10 minutes with him.
Yeah.
There is an alternate reality out there where this is the main event of a takeover from 7 years ago.
Completely.
And that's sort of the expectations. I can't get past that vision in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so far away from that. There was nothing wrong with it, but
Good match.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. It is a good match.
Pete Dunne won. This is when Sami talks to Seth backstage after his promo with Kevin Owens. And they have a bit of friendliness this time, where respectfully, we're going to eliminate each other in the Rumble.
Yeah.
It's every man for himself.
That's it. Sami says, I'm going to throw you out and the time is right. And Seth was like, had a great comeback. Not if I throw you out first.
Logan Paul is going to debut on Raw on the 27th of January.
On the Netflix era of Raw, because he has been on Raw previously.
For 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's the big go home episode for the Rumble. So I imagine he's going to declare, right?
Declare for the Royal Rumble, absolutely. Cody will also be on the show next week as well.
Speaking of, then we got CM Punk. He has a little entrance through the concourse. There's fans there. And he takes the position up in the stands with Jackie Redmond to do a bit of an interview. Really like that visual presentation of wrestler interviews. And Punk just cuts this really classic wrestling promo.
Yeah.
Here's the event. Here's the date. Here's all the people I'm going to face, and I'm going to win. By the way, here's the name of the show. Here's the date again.
Yeah. Really great.
And in that, he talked about, he said how he can't see Cena throwing him over the top rope. Roman needed his help for his family business, but it's every man for himself in the Rumble. Very good point, actually. Mm-hmm. He's already beaten Drew. Sammy's not in Punk's level. And if you put Hulk Hogan in the Royal Rumble, I'll throw his dusty ass over the top rope and I'll kill Hulkamania once and for all.
So is Hulk Hogan in the Royal Rumble? Was that part of the Raw debut that he declared himself for the Rumble and we just all missed it because we couldn't hear over the booze?
Well, I think they should absolutely have him enter and then he gets taken out.
Oh, yeah.
On the ramp.
Hogan's 100% going to agree to that, isn't he? Hogan's only agreeing to that is if that angle happens, then he beats CM Punk at WrestleMania. Maybe this is CM Punk being like, look, it looks like I'm not going to get the WrestleMania main event. I'll start one with Hulk Hogan because if Hogan's there, I might get the main event that time.
Very fun stuff. But I think it's Punk being Punk.
It is.
I don't think he ran this past anyone because absolutely they would say, don't do that. They're a sponsor.
They're one of our main sponsors.
We want that thing to go away.
They are one of our main sponsors and we own part of the company. Don't go out there and bury him.
So I appreciated Punk. This felt like 2011 Punk where he's just chucking things out there.
Yeah.
You could see the little cheeky glint in his eye. I'm not supposed to say this.
He had this little glint in his eye. I was like, this is going to get so much traction on Twitter.
Yeah.
This is going to get shared around quite a lot. It might even be the most talked about thing from the show. Spoilers, it more or less was.
Pure Fusion Collective then had a match against Damage Control. That's Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Dakota Kai and Io Sky.
You know, the closer we get to it, the more I feel like Io Sky isn't winning the Royal Rumble this year.
She had a great hot tag.
She was the only person over in this match.
Also, this could be building her to win the Rumble.
I could really do with some other women declaring that they're going to be in the Royal Rumble. Like, you've seen the urgency that the men's division has to declare themselves for this Royal Rumble. And we are 2 weeks out and 2 women have announced that they are in the Royal Rumble.
I think a lot more women were going to, but then they saw the Charlotte Flair video package on SmackDown.
What's the point?
There was a great spot where Shayna had the Kirifuda clutch on Sky, and Sky got out of that by running towards the ropes and just throwing herself through it. And Shayna was like, Sky's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. I read in here, this action is so slow, I'm pretty sure we're in commercial break. We weren't. Then there's no heat for this whatsoever. Then Io Sky tags in and the place almost comes unglued. It's not like, they came unglued for the main event or Jey Uso in the opener or CM Punk coming out. but it was the loudest they had been for any other portion of this match because Io Sky is so good and she's so awesome. And I'm there watching her just effortlessly beat up Shayna and the other one. And I'm like, thank you. And I'm like, there's no way she's winning this Royal Rumble. She is destined to be in this Royal Rumble and to get eliminated and then be part of a 4-way corner tag match for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
I'm holding out hope. I hope she's just a placeholder for Kyrie, who can come back and she can be the tag act of Damage Control. But the main event, with 30 minutes left of the broadcast, by the way, I'm a convert to 2.5 hours.
Isn't it lovely?
Wow.
Like, it's really nice. Like, the commercial break stuff, because you can, do a good, like, skip forward 10 seconds stuff. But yeah, I think it's paced really quite nicely. I
thought, obviously, the debut episode was what it was. I thought last week's episode was a bit skew-if, but this flowed perfectly, seamlessly, and I felt like everyone got their time. I didn't feel like matches were being rushed, and when it hits the 2-hour mark, and you've got half an hour left for video packages, entrances, the match itself, I was like, this is worthy of a main event spot. So 3 hours is too long. It's too long for a wrestling show. It was certainly too long in the Vince era. It was too long in the Triple H era as well. But it did give them time to do all of the TKO gumph that they like to do. Like, here's some bull riders, here's some video packages, here's some sponsors, here's some people walking backstage. 2 hours, because they've got to do all the TKO bump, meant that everything felt too condensed and they didn't quite manage to pace it out. But 2.5 hours is the middle. It's the middle bowl, isn't it? It's just right. It's neither too hot, it's too cold. It's just right. And I really enjoyed last week's pacing. This week they got the balance right of all the TKO stuff and wrestling and characters. This is our baby bear porridge Raw.
That's exactly it.
Drew and Seth was the main event, and they did a great job building it up. This is a WrestleMania rematch, and what I liked most about it, the work rate was really good, the intensity was there, they both feel like stars, but I also felt like both guys needed to win.
They made this point on commentary, which is that both of them lost on the Raw Netflix debut. This is their second match on Raw on Netflix. This is a kind of can't lose situation for both guys. And it made the end of this. So I loved the finish of this because I really enjoyed the match anyway. I thought the match was really, really great. So it's why I've kind of got no issue with the Penta Pete Dunne match not being like blow away. Like I didn't really, I think we could argue we've been slightly spoiled to think that we should have got a 5-star match out of Pentagon Jr. and Pete Dunne, even though I know they're probably capable of doing one. But really, they are a mid-card match. They shouldn't be doing stuff to outperform what you're getting in the main event.
This is my GM mode talking right here.
It's also just wrestling layouts. So it meant that this match got to be the main event and do all the big main event stuff. So I really enjoyed it. But man, did I love this finish. Because all of this finish and the story they told throughout this match played into what the characters that they are. Okay. Well, I thought I would throw it back to you as the host to run through it.
If you think the finish is so great, tell me why.
It's so good, though.
I did like it. I feel exactly the same.
Because the reason why Drew lost on the Raw Netflix debut is he got in his own way. He became far too cocky. The reason why Seth lost on the Raw debut is he got in his own way and he got too angry. In this match, Seth is on top and he gets too angry and he just gets in his own way and he gets distracted and it allows Drew to get a really good near fall on him. But then Drew gets in his own way, he gets too cocky and Seth rolls him up for the win the exact same way he lost on the Raw debut.
Yeah,
it's a perfect finish.
Drew went into Rainmaker mode. He hit 2 Rainmakers, short arm clotheslines, and then went for one more. Like, never do a move 3 times. Yeah. It's going to get reversed.
Unless you're Cody Rhodes, in which case you can't finish a match unless.
And then Seth just turned it up into a cheeky roll up, just like the Rey Mysterio finish against Kofi Kingston. So a bit of repetition there, which isn't perfect. And afterwards, Drew's really, really annoyed. And he lays out Seth with a Claymore. He's going to hit a second Claymore on Seth's head into the ring post. But Sami makes a save. That's when they end up in the ring. Drew's beating up Seth in the corner. Sami goes to hit the haluva kick. Drew moves out the way. Haluva kicks Seth in the face.
Drew said to Seth, "You are so selfish." And I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if Ollie's going to get this group that he wants.
It's happening.
But the more the more these things happen, the more I'm like, I think we are heading in that direction, because sure, they're facing each other at the moment and like he's brawling with him after the match, but his point's going to get through to Seth. And Sami hitting him with a haluva kick, accidental though it was, is really going to start pushing, because Drew has now got so much ammunition to take Seth being like, you can't trust the guy.
Yeah. And then you can get into the Rumble match, and that's when Drew and Seth realize, oh, we've got all our enemies around us. We should team together. And look, Sami hitting Seth with an accidental haluva kick, if that is a cliffhanger to a Raw a couple of years ago, who cares? But they've done such a good job of building and investing time in all these different relationships between all these different characters in the main event scene, that Sami hitting a haluva kick by accident on Seth is actually a really charged spot to do, because, yeah, it gets over the idea that it is every man for himself at the Royal Rumble, but also, did he do it on purpose? Is Seth going to take it as he did it on purpose, even if he didn't intend to?
Yeah.
How does that impact Drew's relationship? How does that impact KO's relationship? Karrion Kross is probably somewhere evilly smiling on. It's really intricately woven again, and yeah, just I'm not going to say no notes, but
because you hate that.
But well done.
Can I pitch you a spot for the Rumble?
Hit me.
It's just hit me now. Seth tries to eliminate Punk, and he can't. Drew tries to eliminate Punk, but he can't. Seth and Drew work together and eliminate Punk, and it's in that moment where they look at each other in the eye and be like, this is what we have to do. This is the only way, because it's anyone but Punk. Like, that's both of their kind of mission statement at the moment. And by working together, they did stop Punk from winning the Royal Rumble.
Yes, I'd do it with Roman.
Oh, yeah, great. I mean, that's also awesome.
That's why I booked in the 3 count.
Yeah.
Yes, overall, I gave it 80%, which is, I don't really break the 80% margin of Raws that often. I thought this was an incredibly solid show.
Yeah, me too.
Really nicely building the future direction.
Me too. Really enjoyed it.
You can vote in the poll in the chat right now. Before we get on to our remaining chat gables, last call for those, a big thank you to our wonderful Pledgehammers on Patreon. Ross, Pooper Scooper Cooper.
The man with the scoops, Sean.
Hear Me Roar, Siratu Lion.
The torrential tribute, Spencer Vorhagen.
The Pharaoh, Stephen Mazzaferro.
The incredible Tarzo.
Keep rolling. The Rick Peck.
Tony Jabroni.
TrevDog316.
Commentator of the Century, Vince Phillips.
Where there's a will, there's a Will Campbell.
And lastly, for this Hall of Fame class, on the 21st of January 2025, he clashed at the castle, William Wallace.
Please do go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, because there you can become a Pledgehammer. I said that right, patreon.com/WrestleTalk. And you can get all of our exclusive content, including this weekend, episode 2 of our new Rock vs. Cena arc.
It's so much fun.
Right, remaining chat gables. Ricardo Sanjurju Otero says, just here to say that I think Kofi shaving his moustache has done millions for the heel character. For the rest, Raw was okay, nothing really stellar. Love Sami's promo, although the final segment was kind of predictable.
I would say that I thought the main event really delivered.
Yeah, because I thought, they're going to do an interference finish. And they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I thought there's no way they're beating Drew or Seth. Will Campbell. Hi, guys. Really good Raw overall. But as far as this goes, this sounds like it would be a great... And Cody seems like the type of person who would be totally cool with putting Kay over. But Trips likes to go where he thinks the money is. And that's Cody Cena night too.
It makes the most sense. Business-wise, I think it makes the most sense to do Cody Cena too.
For Cena's last run in the company, last year, it would be gross misconduct to not book this.
Yeah, I said this on the Raw reactions that we did, the live reactions, where ordinarily, any other year, I would be saying, do not have a part-timer win the Royal Rumble. Do not have a part-timer main event WrestleMania. Do not have a part-timer win the WWE Championship. But this is a bit of a special case. You've only got one chance to do Cena's retirement year. and you probably should nail this.
Twice in a lifetime. Cody Cena 2 next year. Take it easy, right? Hey, lads, so my theory on the number Dom gave is Vampiros. He has history with Penta, and I believe TNA still has a partnership with AAA. Thoughts? My thoughts are, I don't think that's happening. I don't think WWE is going to work with Vampiro through TNA into AAA.
My thoughts are, if it's Vampiro, the general consensus will be, huh? Vampiro? I mean, honestly, you've got more chance of it being Conan.
Also, fantasy booking for Rumble, 3, 2, 1, glass shatters. Give me a shell, yeah. Also, I'll give Lucas Tanner. Revolver says, Raw was good. Definitely peaked for KO versus Sami, though. It's probably a pipe dream at this point. On another note, I did notice we are pretty close to 90k. Yet there's 90,000 subscribers. We're so close.
Very close.
Any possibility of doing another 10-hour Royal Rumble stream? No, Luke. No.
Aww.
Last one was a blast. Or is that just not possible now? It's so rough.
It is. I mean, I always very much enjoy it, especially because I do all 10 hours and I have a good time doing it. It is actually remarkably harder now that we don't have the network.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Because I haven't checked to see if they're all on there. But what we found... Actually, it's even harder because like you haven't got the chapter skips and stuff to get to bits and pieces on Netflix. But we found when doing this new series on Patreon for Rock vs. Cena, Survivor Series 2011 is not on Netflix. Weird. Kazoo.
Continuing my earlier post, WWE has an embarrassment of riches with its top stars right now. So many potentially interesting feuds, and all of them deserve a world title. But this isn't a charity business, unfortunately. Everyone can't be a world champion.
If everyone's a world champion, then it doesn't feel special.
That's what it comes down to. Well said, Kazoo. Henry Edwards. I think that it's possible for Kevin to win at the Rumble, then a three-way of Sami, Rhodes, and Owens for the belt. Rhodes is still the guy, but now he gets to overcome the odds. Even a four-way if Randy wants to come back. Would rather see Cena versus Gunther.
I don't want a four-way or a three-way for that.
Yeah, it's Mania, you know, like just Shawn Michaels wouldn't let you have a three-way
unless he's in it.
Tero Lamarcus. Of course you would choose Gunther in the bar to talk. You can't have a conversation with Jay. Every third word of Jay is yeet. With Gunther, you can talk about why WrestleTalk had to dance because you weren't allowed to take his chops. Oh, yeah.
It's true.
Good callback.
That is a very good callback. But I just think he would be so much more, like, so much nicer to talk to. And it would be a much calmer drink than to go out with Jey Uso. I just feel, I feel like I'd spend the whole time being like, all right, mate.
Yeah.
Just sit down, will you?
Take off your glasses inside.
Come on, mate.
Why are you wearing them on the back of your head?
Can I just have a pint? Just go to the bar and just get me a pint.
Connell EKM. Re the Logan Paul promo. As a Logan Paul hater, I think if he has to be there, then WWE should turn Logan into the new Veer Mahan. Do promos for a few weeks, show up and do nothing. Disappear for a year, repeat. Well, that would rob us of the one good thing about Logan Paul, which is his in-ring wrestling.
Yeah.
Real Double J. Chad's mentor for the secrets to Lucha. Could it be Uncle Chavo? Huh. He's not affiliated with any company right now.
I guess not, no.
He's technically Dom's uncle.
Yeah.
Maybe Carlito dressed up as the Sensei from Kill Bill 2. Sensei. No, it should be Shane McMahon.
Oh, it'd be so great if it was Shane, though, under a mask.
They robbed me of him being the Howa Power in AEW Learning Tree, so make him the Lord of Lucha. Oh, yes, says Luke. Be honest with me. Were you exaggerating about the Tempest thing? Because, damn, that hurt my soul.
In terms of, like, him just being... it's got to be...
Oh, the Kevin Owens
Kevin Owens is winning and Sami's winning the Rumble.
With Sami versus KO looming, I think Ollie is onto something about Cena. I don't think he is winning the Rumble. I think it's Orton.
That's probably like my 10th most interesting person to win this Royal Rumble. And I like Randy Orton now, but I've got little interest in Randy Orton winning this Royal Rumble.
War Eagle 1023. Guys, between the World Heavyweight title being a mid-card belt, the tag team division being mid until just a few weeks ago, Money in the Bank being booked horribly, I think the conversation needs to be had that Trips isn't so different in booking philosophy than Vince.
I think that's slight.
He really is. He really is different.
Yeah, it's
like the concentration and effort put on consistency and long-term storytelling, and also getting over younger stars.
Yes.
Triple H absolutely has.
But to your point is why I think it's way off the mark, but there are conversations to be had. I don't think Triple H makes belts feel special. With the exception of the WWE Championship, I don't think he makes belts feel special.
Kevin, so I was at work and I opened the window quickly, and from distance, I saw this Post-it note land perfectly in my paper bin. Makes perfect sense now. Remember, I'm in France. Too bad I wasn't able to record it on my phone. And Charles Berg, finally for now, has been a member for 44 months. I could never be champion. Chat Gable, Poor Review, Dexter Loomis, and Spunk. I'm part of the law, Luke. I want in the jamble. One number. My ball's in your court.
I just don't think it's going to work that way.
Yeah. And we've had one more, sorry. Michael Dominguez. What if Ollie is right about Seth, Drew, KO, but they form NWO? KO stuns cameraman, fans interrupts matches on SmackDown and Raw. Seth is a psycho leader. Also, 2019 AEW pay-per-views are on HBO. And But Yarl's watch-alongs aren't available past 2020. I want to watch them with Yarl commentary.
Well, they should be on there. When did we stop doing watch-alongs for every pay-per-view? It feels like it's like 2022.
I can't remember.
It's only like the last couple of years we stopped doing them.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely did live reactions for All Out 2022 because it was you and Pete.
Yeah. Do you want to read the poll results, and I will sync this note?
Okay, ending the poll, and look at him cheating the. You've absolutely cheated. Like, that was not what we put in place. That was not the rule we put in place.
Well, that's impossible otherwise.
Well, that's your fault. You set the rules.
All right, do you want to put it back? I'll try and get it.
I'll do it like that. I'll go halfsies with you. Poll results are 74% thumbs up, 22% in the middle. So not far off what you had for your.
Okay. My heels are against the wall.
Okay, let me just get my phone for this just in case. Okay. It's actually a pretty better shot as well because it gets less of the rubbish in.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is big. You need to sync this one. Oh, it nearly rimmed its way in. But
it was the right distance.
It was. No dice.
For the championship.
This is it now. Don't get scared. You've got to sync this one. Oh, and he hit the championship belt. He is ended in failure. No point. Good effort though, mate. I mean, if you'd have sunk that one like you said in the kitchen, you definitely would have made that shot.
Go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk now, where you can watch loads of last year's WrestleTalk extra arcs and in advance of this Saturday's launch. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.